To other stories now, Nigeria's population is estimated to be about 200 million, out of which the youth population is said to be 75%. The youth unemployment rate, according to a recent statistics, is 38%, a situation that poses great danger to the national security. Such a large population of unemployed, unengaged, angry, sullen, unproductive, analysts say is dangerous for any society. It constitutes a menace and security risk because their lives appear to be falling like a pack of cards before them. Yet they are full of youthful energy to explore and carry out activities beyond imagination. Sadly, recent studies have revealed that unemployment rate is undoubtedly contributing to the high rate of insecurity in the country. And Emeka Madunagu joins us now to share his perspective on this situation. Great to have you, Mr. Emeka. Thank you so much for coming on Newsday.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers.
Well, in light of the level of unemployment, is it surprising that the country is facing the myriads of security challenges?
Yeah, of course, you can't have such a large number of youths unemployed, and you want to say you will not have security challenges. So you can find out that the state governments actually have come to see that it's a serious issue. They've got to take the youths very, very seriously. I mean, Nigeria has a large youth population, a lot of people under 18, a lot of people unemployed or underemployed. So you've got to look at what the federal government and the state governments are doing. You know, it's not just about tokenism, just throwing money into things. But I'd like to look at, you see, you need to assess what are the security challenges facing the country. You know, basically you have banditry, you have robbery, of course you have other forms of crime, other types of crimes, you know, fraud, online fraud and all of that. But you see, I would like to look at what interests me is what someone like the governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, has really done. I mean, talking about a youth development commission, talking about getting youths engaged in governance, talking about ensuring peace, fighting for security, ensuring that there is security in the state. Because, you see, if you don't get the youths engaged, you will surely have insecurity. And no matter how much you pour into buying vans, buying guns for the police, buying handcuffs and all of that, you can never deal with the problem of youth unemployment unless you engage the youths directly. You got to get talking points, you know, to ensure that the youths have their hands on in governance, just like Yaya Bello has done in Kogi State. So definitely, you find out that, you know, Kogi is bounded by 10 states. You know, so people come into the state from different parts of the, you know, country, including the FCT. So all manner of people, and then you got to check what they are doing. You got to keep those people engaged. If they're passing through the state, they have to be secure enough. They have to feel secured enough to pass through the state. If they're going to stay in the state, they have to have something doing. So definitely, I think the idea of a youth development commission bill, I think is novel. And definitely, it's looking at different areas, you know, of getting the youths engaged. We've had so much of keeping the youths out of governance, you know, just dropping things at them. But this time, you got to look at, you know, programs whereby the Kogi State government, for instance, has engaged, you know, in a program with Action Aid, has engaged, you know, with the private sector in different areas, vocational training. It recently opened a University of Science and Technology, you know, which will build skilled manpower, skilled labor, ensure that going forward into the 21st century, you see, we have skills. A lot of the number of universities we have in Nigeria, for instance, cannot even take up to 1 million entrants. So where are you going to keep the remaining? So it means that the base level for those seeking employment is actually school SAT, SSC. So where do you put these people? What it means is that those who cannot get into the universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and other forms of higher institutions, you don't have to leave them on the streets, hanging on the street corners, you know, getting into fraud and all, you know, other kinds of scams. But what you got to do is to make sure you get them skilled, you get them trained, deliberately trained. You set up higher institutions that will draw them get them trained, get them engaged. You see, open new vistas, using innovation, ICT, which of course I will also commend Yahaya Bello for doing. Looking at ICT, yes, you have other governors doing other things, doing similar things, but not exactly, as in deliberately and intentionally, you understand, punching above their weight, ensuring that there is a continuing conversation and action on dealing with youth unemployment.
Okay.
If you look at it, if you look at Boko Haram, for instance, what do they use in luring the youth? As little as 5,000 naira. People must eat. People must be engaged. People must be busy. So what it means is that whatever you are trying to do concerning youth unemployment, you got to look at security. If the youths are gainfully engaged, they won't have time to get involved in criminal activities. So what you got to do is make sure that they're also part of the security architecture, just like Governor Yahaya Bello has done. Make sure they're part of the security architecture. Make sure that they buy into it. Intelligence gathering is also very important because all kinds of people come into, your state, move around. You have itinerant mercenaries and itinerant criminals who move from place to place,
If I may
looking for somebody to hire them. Yes.
Yes. I just want to come in here, lest we seem to be looking at it without taking everything into perspective. Yes. You matched up unemployment and insecurity.
Yes.
But perhaps we could take a step back to before we even arrived at unemployment. Some of the factors you've begun to touch on. Let's break them down and just grind into them, because you have issues of bad governance, despite the fact that you're touting Governor Yahaya Bello. He's part of that class of bad governance that have brought about what we're seeing today. We have poor investment. We have a deficit in education. We have deficits in training the young to the level that they will be employable. And then we have the issue of drugs and substance abuse. So I want you to sort of look at it a little more, take them bit by bit, so we can, in that way, maybe analyze the way forward.
Yeah, of course. There is a maxim that says that an idle man's mind is the devil's workshop. Of course, you will have a high rate of drug abuse if the youths wake up every morning, no hope, nowhere to go to, where if there are no programs deliberately targeting them. And if you look at something, we have not had a deliberate policy since independence of, building successor generations. So what we've had is that the same set of people have continued to be recycled in the governance system, being recycled. But you find out in the Fourth Republic, there has been a deliberate shift, a paradigm shift, looking at much younger people. Of course, we started the Fourth Republic with very young governors. You had Donald Duke, you had Ojikalo, you had young governors over the years, young legislators, state lawmakers, and all of that. But, you see, we must push on with that. We must make sure.
Emeka, yes. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. And just to put the record straight, Kogi State has over 30% unemployment rate and over 20% underemployment. Thank you so much for coming on the show.